Hi, Andrew from SACS, and welcome to video number 7 in our 8-video sequence on communication for engagement and morale. And in this video we'll be talking about gender and how gender affects optimum communication. There's strong research evidence that communicating with men is a little different from communicating with women if you want them to be influenced by that form of communication. So let's talk about some of the things that research has demonstrated about gender differences. So surveys in large population show a thing called the people versus things effect. For instance, in addiction studies, men are way more likely to be addicted to substances, whereas women are more likely to be addicted to social media. Dopamine versus oxytocin. Dopamine is a goal-orientated, a get things done kind of a chemical. Oxytocin is about bonding, where you tend to get a kind of what's called the tend befriend effect, where when a person cares deeply about and likes other people, that's an oxytocin motivator. And it's hypothesized that women being addicted to social media is an oxytocin kind of an effect, whereas men being addicted to substances is much more a dopamine kind of an effect. Well, putting all the neuroscience to one side, what that means is that women are in general more interested in people, whereas men are more interested in things. Now, this is something that's been demonstrated incredibly widely in research. For instance, the effect size of this gender difference in interests is close to 1 standard deviation. But what's a standard deviation? If you look at any average, a standard deviation is a measure of how far from the average. Now, these studies are enormous, and you can imagine you're given questionnaires where you're asked about, well, what's most important in your life? And what you'll find is that men tend to be much more interested in things like cars, like competition, like my company, whereas women tend to be far more interested in people, like my friends, my colleagues. Now, of course, there's enormous overlap, and it doesn't really work at an individual level. So Bill Bloggs might be extremely people-orientated and really care about people, and Mary Smith may be very cut and dried and likes to achieve things and likes to perhaps not care so much about colleagues. Of course, at an individual level, it doesn't work. But in a big population, the difference is a standard deviation. Now, in psychology, that's very large, unusually big difference. So that gave rise to this concept called the people versus things effect. So organisations should address both things and people in their comms to ensure that they're engaging everyone. So let's talk about something really important, workplace or occupational health and safety. If your messages are purely about people, things like take care of your colleagues, send everybody home safe, but that's a nice message and a powerful message and a useful message. But if you have a very male-dominated workforce where it's all about achieving goals and about getting things done and about, sort of success factors in a kind of an objective sense, if you want to put it that way, I am getting a promotion, I am making a budget, those kinds of things, it may well be that what you've got to do is use both messages. Send people home safe, take care of your colleagues, show your concern for your colleagues, and successful organisations actually do this stuff. So let us engage with both the people effect and the things effect. Now, the reason I say this is that we've seen in many organisations that the dominant communication comes from one person or one group of people. Now, if that dominant group of people is male, not surprisingly, you tend to get the things orientation. If it's female, then you tend to get the people orientation. What we're saying is that no matter what the genders are, it's really important to have a things orientation in your comms and a people orientation in your comms. That's the safest way of getting the message across. And that goes not just for occupational health and safety type messages, but everything. Bear in mind the people versus things distinction. And even if you don't like assigning gender to this, it's a pretty fair description of most people, isn't it? Some people are very kind of toys orientated, likes things and likes to achieve and likes to get satisfaction from interaction with the world at large, and other people are more people orientated. Important to have messages that touch on all points of that spectrum. The final video will be about how do we use our leadership skills to purposefully communicate effectively with the groups that we need to deal with, both inside and outside our organisation. Click on the link near this video to join us for the final video in this sequence.